I was getting like one word answers type. And then I was
Okay.
like, yeah. And so he's in construction. I said, oh, so you're in construction. That's awesome. Are you, he's a general contractor. He said, I work with general contractors, all the time. I'd love to, possibly do business with you. So I was kind of taking it in that direction. Um, but he was like, oh, well, I don't, he mentioned that he does it privately or something. That he doesn't really work with people, which I thought was weird. So he wasn't really giving me anything to grab onto for good
Mhm.
conversation. And so I
Okay.
was like, well, I'd love to help you and your family bridge the gap so that when your home is fully renovated and you're ready to put it on the market, we can have that conversation at that time. When's a good time for us to get together? And yeah, and he was just not open at that point. So I don't know if it was me stumbling but it was definitely that deep personality that, yeah, and he was leading the conversation. So that's where,
Okay, there
yeah.
we go. Yeah, so it probably was D, right? So
Mm.
so Jen, for all you guys are high is more of an S personality type. So if you don't know the disc profile, go look at it online. And in the playbook, I talk about disc profile personality traits because there's lots of different personality tests out there, but disc is real easy and it's common and it's a real easy one to get a better understanding of because we all have certain personality trait tendencies, and that helps you kind of categorize people into different personality types to help better understand who they are, but also understand who I am, because that guy's more high D's, more to the point, get to it, don't waste any time. I like control, I
Right.
like strong. Jen's more high S, which is amiable. It's a little slower paced. It's a little more feelsy. I'm going to my heart, right? It's a little more feelsy, where she's more feel emotion oriented versus the high D, who's more logic and think oriented. And so it's kind of a mismatch on personalities. And so what do I do to change gears to be able to connect with that person? Because we're talking about a lead who was referred to you from another agent for lease to
Right.
lease something out and go do a lease, right?
Right. But then potential business because he's renovating his home in in Lake Travis area and then looking to sell then.
So
So,
why would he do a lease if he's gonna already owns a home?
well, that's what I was curious about. I mean, but I didn't ask that question.
Why?
The way from my understanding, it was that he was looking for something to bridge the gap. So just something, and he did mention being closer to his daughters that just got married, and they live closer to this area nearby. Um,
So he lives in a house in where? Lakeway?
yeah, like Lake Travis area.
He lives
But
in
I
Lake.
think one of his daughters got married, and I think he was wanting to be closer to them while that house is getting renovated.
Hmm.
It was
So there's a
interesting.
lot of, yeah. So how did it
Yeah.
end?
It ended with me saying, well, if because he was saying he's very busy, and I said, absolutely, I appreciate that. And I definitely don't want to waste your time, that kind of thing. And I said, I'd love to follow up with you and see how I can best help you. So that's that I need to follow up to today, actually.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a follow-up call.
All
Yeah.
right. What do D's want?
Facts, data. I mean, I don't,
Okay. What
is
else do
that
they
D or
want?
C? Confidence.
Confidence. Yep. What else do they want?
They want to be led.
They want to be led. Yeah, they're leaders, but they want to be led. They want actually somebody who's strong that they can follow. They want to follow somebody, but they only want to follow somebody who's strong.
Right.
So if they're following somebody who's demonstrating weakness or not control, because you leaving that phone call without a result is weakness.
Right.
You're like, okay, well, how did you end it? You're like, I'll touch base with you, or I'll no. He
Right.
needs a
Right.
definitive next step, definitive next
Right.
step. So for you guys, James and Evelyn, on understanding D types is like, okay, you need to take control and be definitive about direction and about clarity with, what are next best steps here. Like, move, like get going and take control, because there's a lot that you don't know there, because either he was talking too much or talking about something that wasn't relevant to you, that wasn't in alignment with you finding out what was really going on. Because how do you have a property that you live in, but you want to go lease something else and you actually don't have
Yeah,
answers?
I don't. Yeah, you're
So
right.
do you not have answers because he was talking about something else that he changed direction of the conversation, or you
Well,
just failed to like dig in on that?
I failed to dig in on that. But also when I called him, I was thinking it's the lease lead. So I was asking him, let me know a little bit about what you're looking for, what's bringing you to the area. So I was asking him kind of lease lead type questions, and I didn't shift my mind and just, get to know him. Like, and so when I started, then he started saying I'm in construction. And so I was trying to make a connection. I think that was where I was really trying to make the connection. But by that time, he was leading the conversation, and he was yeah, I think he was checked out a bit.
Yeah. First thing when you're talking to somebody, whether it's a seller or a buyer, here's a very common, or here's a very basic question that helps me figure out what's happening. And then from there, I can figure, because look, if I come in thinking it's a lease lead without using this question as a base to like figure out where to go from there, or where to dig in and find more out, get to know the people, get to know the people, get to know the people. Rule number one, get to know the people. James, rule number one, get to know the people. Evelyn, rule number one, get to know the people. Somebody gives me a lease lead, I go in, I don't know what type of personnel that they are, but I get in there and then they start leading the conversation, and I'm asking just lease questions when a simple basic question that I ask people initially is, what's going on?
Hmm.
So Jennifer, hey, I'm glad I got a chance to catch up with you. I know we had gone back and forth on text, and I was referred to you from Paula. And man, I'm excited to hear a little bit more about how I might be able to help you with leasing a property. So tell me what's going on.
Oh, well,
All right, great script. I'm just giving you an example, right, on how to like engage that, because then he's going to start talking about what's going on, and somewhere in what's going on, he goes, "Well, I'm building a house." Whoa, wait a minute.
right.
Or I'm renovating a house, right? Whoa, time out. You're renovating a house. What do you, here's another really basic question that I like to throw in. Rebecca's on the call, and Rebecca's heard me coach on this. When you're digging in on get to know the people, get to know the people, get to know the people. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm renovating a house. And then he said, how do you say it? I'm renovating a house. And what? Tell me the context of how he said I'm renovating a house.
He says, I'm renovating a house and looking for a place to stay in the meantime. Yeah, and then that was really it. And so I
I'm
said,
renovating a house and I'm
renovating
looking
a
for a
house. I
place.
said, tell me a little bit more about that. So
Good, good,
yeah,
good. And
and
he
so
said,
and he said, well, I'm a general contractor, and it's so strange because it was like there's not much left to do, but so
yeah,
yeah,
so help me understand that. What do you
uh,
mean? How come you're not just going to sell that and go buy something else? Or like, what's important? Okay, what do you mean? What's important about that? Tell me a little bit more.
right.
You gonna say something?
Renovating it to live in it, or renovating it to just put it on the market. He goes,
Yeah. So
yeah,
so look, these are okay. So let's take it here. Prompting questions to get to know the people. So rule number one, get to know the people, because like you actually don't even know which direction to go or what you should do, and often agents are like trying to lead in direction in regards to where to go, or coming from or entering the conversation or engaging the conversation from their initial perspective. Oh, this is a lease lead, when really rule number one is get to know the people, regardless of where you're at, because you don't know that even you should have an appointment or you
right,
should spend time with them. Because when you get to know the people, then you have clarity. Clarity is power, right? For you to be able to understand, okay, trash, appointment, follow up. What do I do with this guy? Okay, so how about this for the lesson of the day? And I want to come back to Evelyn too on some on what she might want to talk about is prompting questions. What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me a little bit more about that. Before, what do you mean? What did I say? What was before that? I didn't say, what do you mean? There was another one before. What do you mean?
Tell me what's going on.
What's going on?
What's going on with that property?
What's
Tell me
going on?
what's
Like,
going
what
on.
does that, what do you mean?
Right,
Or what does that mean? Tell me more about that.
right.
These two questions that I've brought up many times for you guys in these sessions is what's important about that. So what's important about um, renovating your property right now while you're trying to lease?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what's important about that? What does that do for you? Okay, prompting question. What's important about that? What does that do for you?
Do
What do
for
you
me.
mean? Uh, tell me what did I say? I forget the first one again. I keep forgetting it.
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's that all about? So tell me more. Tell me
Right.
more. Okay. For you to be guys to be able to dig in because clarity is power. So
Mm,
that personality style may have thrown you off. No or yes.
it did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
know it did. I know it did.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
I know
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. So I gotta be prepared for those personality styles and the way that you guys look, whether regardless of what personality style you are or what's going on, we get distracted. Like we get distracted with personality styles. We get distracted with things that they say. We get distracted with not having the conversation inside my head so that I can have the flexibility to figure out which direction to go or the most important questions to ask, which is why those scripts are so important for you guys to know better conversations. Not, Evelyn, for you to be able to recite scripts. That's not what this is about. But like if you're not comfortable talking to a for sale by owner or an investor, or better yet, using the pre-qualifying script for buyers or for sellers, because that's where like a chunk of no matter what anybody's situation is, whether you're a buyer or whether you're a seller, your ability to ask core questions every single time you're talking to somebody.
Love it.
Okay. The only way that's going to happen is role play, though, right? Is for you guys to keep practicing those conversations so that you can have higher level, you can have more efficient conversations. And then Jennifer, it's not about like personality style. You're like, okay, hi D here, kick it up, speed it up, be
Yes.
stronger, be
Right.
more confident. Because now, are you going to be able to rebound this guy? Maybe, maybe not, though. It's a lease lead, but it could be a sell lead.
There'll be a sale. Yeah. So follow up.
So,
Yeah.
so the very next thing you should do is call this guy back and be super strong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead. I'm the guy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All
Ring,
right.
ring me.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Oh, hey, how are you doing, Jennifer?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for taking my call. You have a minute to chat?
Yeah,
Perfect, perfect. Well, I definitely wanted to reach back out. I know last time we talked, you said that you were looking for something to bridge the gap while you're renovating your home.
yeah.
Wanted to see how that's going for you.
It's going pretty good. I'm getting closer to being done.
Okay, cool. So you've got a timeline then on the renovations and when things will get, bit buttoned up. What's that timeline look like?
I'd probably say the next 30 days.
The next 30 days. Wow,
Mhm.
that's right around the corner. Great. Okay. So are you preparing your family to move in? Or is that your forever home? Or I know y'all were looking to
No,
possibly,
no, I want to be closer to my kids out in
okay,
Georgetown. Yeah.
right, closer to your kids. So tell
Mhm.
me a little bit more about that. What would being closer to your kids do for you?
Well, the grandkids and everything. I just want to be closer to them.
Gotcha. Grandkids,
Yeah.
closer to grandkids. Yeah.
Yeah. They had a new one. There's a couple up there already, and we're not that far.
Okay.
But it'd be nicer to just, be around be close by.
Right, right. And so when you do have the renovations all done, do you have a plan for the property? I know last time we talked, you mentioned possibly putting it on the market.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Okay, perfect. So, do you have time? I'd love to talk to you and possibly take a look and see some of the renovations you've done. Um, you said it was in the Lake Travis area, is that correct?
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
break script. Now look, dig in, dig in, dig
again,
in.
deeper.
So what? How come you're thinking about leasing when you're selling a property?
Okay.
Like what? That's weird, right?
I could say, are you still thinking about leasing? Or I don't know, or just why are you thinking of leasing when you have the,
Yeah, Paul. Mr. Owner, like, so, usually I don't run into people that are selling a house, but then going into a lease. Like, tell me, like, what's happening? Tell me what's going on.
More about that. Okay. Gotcha.
What's going on here?
Right.
Like, Jen,
Dig. I have to dig.
you got to dig in
Gotta
there,
dig.
right? You're the
Yeah.
doctor. You're the
Yeah.
doctor. So it's not
I gotta
nosy,
diagnose. I gotta diagnose.
right? Yeah, you got to diagnose. You can't diagnose without doing stuff. So you got to get in there and go, like, see, that's where D's thrive, right? Is
Mm,
our D's are just going to just dive right in and go like,
right.
oh, what's happening here? Like,
Right.
so you can do that nicely because you have to know. You got to
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Mm,
Okay, jump in there and dive in there and dig in there and find out what's going on when you call this guy. Okay.
okay.
All right. I'm going to keep moving though for the purpose of continuing to diversify the call. Evelyn, what do you have?
My problem is always like go three deep. I normally get superficial and normally the leads that I have, I never to my take, I never go too deep in order to qualify them if it's a good lead or it's just waste of my time, quote unquote, per se.
Mm-hmm. Three deep on their motivation or what? Where
Um,
three deep?
and like for instance, for buyers, I tend not to have a good um what can I say, a good result for buyers. Um, maybe because it's my new experience to get exciting to have buyers, and maybe I don't ask enough questions to find out if they truly qualify, if they're ready
Mm-hmm.
to buy this year, or if that is a lead that I'm just gonna have to kind of nurture them because I did not um
Okay.
good questions, I guess, or deeper questions to make sure where they are.
Okay, easy. Do you have the playbook?
No.
Okay. Corey's got the playbook. I know he does.
Okay.
Go to Corey immediately and say, Corey, give me the playbook right now. Please hurry. Okay. And in the playbook, you're going to go these two scripts. These are the most two important scripts in the playbook, anyways, right? Pre-qual buyer, pre-qual seller. I don't know what page they're on. There's an index in the beginning of the playbook. You can look up what page they're on. Pre-qual buyer, pre-qual seller. Because Evelyn, that's what I was telling you about. Like, if you want to have better conversations, those two scripts alone, if you internalize those two scripts and you get them in there, when you start talking to people, you're just going to start rolling on questions. But if you're not armed and ready with good questions to ask people, or Jen, like if you're not really well versed in the conversation, and then you start letting feelings like supersede the importance of just getting to know the people because you're feeling a little intimidated by the high D, and like you don't really have the conversation as internalized, and then you're drowning and swimming around in feelings, and then you get off the call and you're like, okay, well, I'll follow up with you. Follow up with you. Hold on. Like, we set an appointment right there. You got a referral. Set an appointment. There's no follow up unless he's like, hey, I can't talk right now. Can you call me back? Okay, then you call him back. But you get off that call and you haven't set an appointment. You didn't. Something happened. That was not a good call. We're gonna go straight to like real, right? Or Evelyn, like maybe that happens where at the open house, or when does that happen, or just generally, or is there certain
In general,
places?
like open houses, or I have a lot of leads from my sphere, even though I don't have many spheres, many people in my sphere per se, because my life previous to adult work per se, it was more with my kids. So, and the people in my sphere, when now they see that I'm a realtor, they somewhat reach out. Um, and most of them is just, to be honest, not going basically a waste of my time. I don't know if they see, oh, she's in realtor, so maybe she can help me um to make a miracle or something.
Well, look, only a certain number of people are going to need or want your help anyways in your sphere, and that's not going to be that many. 10% if you're lucky, if you do it right. So most people in your sphere are not going to do business with you right now, but
Okay.
you're going to groom them into having that conversation over a longer period of time. But regardless of whether you're talking to your sphere or you're at an open house, like I got to have that conversation in my head. You guys, I'm in this business longer than probably anybody here for sure. Yeah, I am. Okay, and I'm bringing the listing presentation to my listing presentations, and I'm sitting in the car and going, Jen, I'm going over my listing presentation in the car. I'm like going through it. At the open house, before I start the open house, I'm scanning the open house script. I wrote the damn script. Like, I know what's in there, but like I need to like look over the game before I get in the game. And the reason why that's so important is that I did an open house this weekend on one of my listings, and it was going to be a pretty busy open house. And sure enough, 3 leads, 1 set appointment. It's a $700,000 property. $700,000 times 3%. That's a $20,000 deal. The conversation was worth $20,000. Just that we're all like on the same page here, right? That was a $20,000 conversation. So you bet your ass I'm going to be sitting in my car, like going through the conversation before I go in there. And I've been doing this 20 years, James. I've coached hundreds of agents across the country, and I'm still doing it. All right.
I have a question for the open house. I had, when I was doing open house, I was calling after the open house for a long time, and then one of my call, it was 2 of them say, oops, we already bought the house, we are closing, this was past February, you're closed at the end of February, and thank you for all the information you gave me. I was like pissed because I don't know what I missed.
These are people that attended the open house?
Yes, and they didn't have filters.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either you just didn't have a good enough conversation at the open house, or just sometimes you're not able to get to it, and then you call them later, and then you find out later that it was what it was. But Evelyn, this is a numbers game. Like, you're going to talk to a lot of people, because this is actually, initial conversations are not the real game. The real game is the follow-up game. That's the real game. So you got to talk to enough people to get into the follow-up game, because the follow-up game is the real game in regards to like wins and losses and your ability to like turn potential leads. Because in the follow-up game, like it's always 80-20, by the way. It's always 80-20. Like 80% of people you talk to when you're prospecting are not going to want to have anything to do with anything that you're saying at all. Okay. And when you prospect, 80% of those people are not going to turn into anything. Okay. That's what happens, Jen. Like, most follow-up is not going to turn into anything. Sucks. It's reality, though. And now the good news is that you have all these conversations. You have all these conversations, and only this many are going to be worth anything. Here's the good news. This many is worth this much money, James. It's worth that much money. So that's your incentive, is to know that you're just going to have to talk to more people and figure out how to get more efficient in your conversations. All right. I want to do a role play here, though, because where can we do a role play around open house or database or a specific objection? Raise your hand. Miss Rebecca.
I'll always volunteer. There won't be a time I won't. Specific objection, or do you have a preference, or you want a specific objection?
No, it's your show.
Okay. I set an appointment today with the seller, which was all good and well. But sort of, I think Evelyn is the one who said it, is still going deeper into the motivation. I asked like what do you mean? Or like, why is that important to you to sell because you don't like the area anymore? And he was like, I just want the money. And then I kind of just like, okay. And I just moved because I heard motivation and I was able to set the appointment because he wants to sell it. But I still am not necessarily getting as deep as I know I should be. So.
Okay. So what motivation did you hear when he says, I just want the money?
He basically said he wants to sell the property because he doesn't like the area anymore. And he has a property in Queens 15 minutes away.
Why doesn't he like the area?
I don't know. He was just like, I guess I should have asked that. I didn't know if I was getting to like fair housing, which I guess doesn't matter because he's not going to report me for that.
For what? I didn't say like,
no, I got
why don't you like Italian people? I said, like, why don't you like the area? Like, what's wrong with the area? Like, that's a fair question. There's nothing wrong with that question.
Fair question.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. What personality style are you again?
I'm an ID.
ID?
Yeah. More I than
Did you take the test?
I took the test. It says ID.
I want to see the results because I'm not sure I believe your ID. I role played with you quite a
I
bit.
am.
I'm not convinced. Okay, so because okay, so digging into get to know the people on
Yeah.
motivation, because Jen did the same thing earlier where before you were on the call, Rebecca, where she just didn't dig in and find out like what's going on here, what's going on here, what's going on here. Guys,
Yeah.
it happens all the time, and it happens even when you're further down the road. But it's absolutely a detriment. It's not good for you to not understand people and not understand their motivation, especially in a market like where it's not fantastic anymore, and buyer energy right now is not great with what's going on economically. So you want motivation 10, motivation 9, right? So if they're not 10 or a 9, James, then that's going to be a bigger problem later when I need to like have a tough conversation to get them to move through whatever it is we need to move through. Whatever it is we need to move through. I gotta dive in. You guys got to be committed to that, because you said a lot of you guys are like, yeah, real estate. I understand real estate's about relationships. Okay, all right. Well, if you want to be in a relationship, you need to have a good conversation with somebody. Think about your significant other. Think about your kids, right? Like you got to get in there, Evelyn. Like you don't let your kids get away with shit. Like you get in there and you're like, what's going on? No, mijo, tell me more. What's happening? What do you mean you didn't do your homework? What do you mean that you couldn't, you were too, come on.
I tried to kind of relearn things, because the way I see it was like, I see what's good for you, do A, B, C, and D, and follow my lead. That's how I am, and that's how I am with my kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I go to somebody that, well, not really, I'm not going to follow your lead. You need to explain to me, why should I follow you?
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, ugh, okay,
Right.
let's
Yeah.
work on it.
For sure. It's a different dynamic that you can exert a lot more power over your children than differently than you would over somebody who that you're having a conversation with to earn their business. But at the end of the day, like your ability to have a higher level conversation is rooted in your ability to connect with them, and connecting with them in a scenario like this is being able to ask more questions, to dive in, to have clarity with where they're at. And then you can lead them based when you know who they are and where they are, and what type of personality they are. You can know how to lead them and where to lead them, or to not lead them. Because I don't like the area. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean you don't like the area?
Well,
And here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you guys don't get this, if you don't get better at this faster, because you'll start talking to more people that you should not be talking to, or you should not be talking to right now. Because even like for me right now, I'm pretty good at this now. But even with me and the stable of clientele that I have, that there's certain people that you talk to when you initially prospect that are not going to do business with you. There's a certain number of people that when you prospect on follow up that are not going to do anything. There's a certain number of people that when you take them to do business are not going to work out. The contracts are going to cancel. They're not going to sell. They're not going to buy. I'm still not getting paid. Okay, who wants to get paid sooner than later? Say me. Who's committed to get to know the people? Say me.
Me.
I got to dive in here. I cannot take that shit, Rebecca, where you like somebody says like something surface level and you don't get it. Like you have to like, if you let it slide and you let it slide because of your conditioned reflex to where your flesh goes, oh, okay. And then you ask another question, but you know you still weren't there yet. You better get your ass back to that conversation and go, hey, look, you were talking about not like in the neighborhood. Like, tell me a little bit more about that. But you have to be sincerely, authentically, like really, look, I really want to know. You may sound a little crazy, or you may sound a little stubborn, or I don't really like your attitude or your personality or your political affiliation. Shit like that comes up, right? But I really want to know. Like, I really want to know what's going on with you. Okay, I got to know the conversation. All right, the conversation is here, Evelyn. I got to go 3 deep. What's 3 deep? I got to know more of the script. Just basically at the onset for you. For Rebecca, it's like, okay, I know the script. Rebecca knows the script, but like I'm getting surface level answers, and that's not good enough. I gotta go deeper. I gotta go three deep I gotta go three deeps on the three deeps, Evelyn. Like I gotta go three deeps on some of these questions based off of situation and motivation. I gotta go in deeper to know them. Okay, so let's do it. Call me up, Rebecca.
All right, ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, this is Rebecca with Vision Elite. We had connected over text to talk about considering an offer on your property, 123 Main. Was now a bad time?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, really quick. We're actually serious buyers. We work with off-market buyers. We do creative financing. We're also real estate brokers. So it just depends on the property condition and your situation to understand what type of offer we can bring. I just want to get a better idea of things I can't see online. You mind if I ask you a few quick questions?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, perfect. And I know it's 123 Main Street. I see online that it's a two-family. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, perfect. And how many beds and baths are in the property?
It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
All right, great. 4 bed, 3 bath. And is it currently tenanted right now?
It is. Yeah, somebody's in there. They're paying 4,500 a month.
4,500 a month. Okay. And is that lease or is that a month by month payment?
It's lease. It's up in June though.
Okay, it's up in June. So if we were to get you an offer before June, are you thinking about renewing with these tenants or are you would you look to
Depends
sell
on
with them?
an offer. I mean, what's your offer?
Yeah, no, I love that. That's why I'm actually giving you this call here is we need to get a little bit more information to figure out what kind of offers we can bring you. How long have you actually owned this property?
20 years.
Oh man. All right. So you know the area well. You're like the mayor over there. Okay. And have you made any improvements at all on the property?
I mean, I redid the kitchen 5 years ago, and put new flooring down
Okay.
within the last 10 years. So some minor maintenance.
Oh, yeah, no, those are definitely good ones there. And do you know about any major issues for the property, like foundational,
No,
roof? No. Okay.
no,
Great. And then I asked this because we do have a department that helps out with this. Do you have any liens, probate issues, foreclosures, anything like that?
no, nothing like that.
No. Okay. And then for this property, like I said, if the offer did make sense, were you selling this property to potentially purchase another one?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, you're not. And as far as timing on the property, could you close quickly or would a 30 to 45 days work better for you?
Yeah, I could close sooner than later. Yeah.
All right, all right. I know you mentioned you're not going to be looking to purchase another property. So for you, what's the biggest benefit of selling this property?
I just don't like this area. I'm just thinking the area is. I'm ready to get out of here. Ready to get out of ownership of that area.
Okay. And I mean, what about the area do you not like?
It's just gone to hell in the last 10 years. Feels like.
Okay. What specifically? I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, it's just the crime rate's been going up. One thing, and it's just it feels like the tenants have been getting worse and worse as far as people making payments, and I just it's not what it was 20 years ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, we're seeing that a lot with what we're doing. Just in general, tenants and renting out in New York is definitely tougher. So, I mean, what's important for you? I mean, I know you mentioned that lesser crime rate. What's important about getting out of this area, though?
Well, I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's the number one thing, and that's I think the biggest thing is it's just I'm in my 60s now, and I just don't feel like having to deal with all that responsibility anymore.
Mm, I can understand that. So for you, if you were to leave this area, get into a better area, would you stay in New York or would you just move out of the state completely if you were to sell this one?
No, I'd stay here. I mean, that's just a rental property for me.
Okay, okay. So you live in a different property and this one's just rented out to the tenant right now.
Right.
Okay, okay. So you would offload this one. I mean, what are the plans though with the funds? Are you gonna just hold on to it, get a boat? Are you gonna purchase another property somewhere else? What would be the plans?
I'm not quite sure yet.
All right, not quite sure. I mean, reason I ask because we do actually help out a lot with investing and things like that. So we like to be a resource. That's why I ask. I mean, best case scenario though, what would you do with those funds? Do you have any like inkling?
Okay, brace trip. Hold on. You had me there. Don't let me get
I don't
away
know
though.
where to go. I
Yeah,
usually would have
you
said
had
like
me.
bye, not
Yeah.
bye, at the appointment.
Yeah, right. Just set the appointment. Right.
Yeah.
So that was good on I like we did that a while back, right? It was like, so you gonna buy a boat? Or are you
I
gonna buy
use that a lot
property?
now. It's my favorite. Yeah.
That's a good template, hey, because it's kind of funny. It's a little laugh, maybe he is gonna buy a boat, but probably not. And it creates a little levity in the conversation, like a little bit of a humor where you're like, so you're gonna buy a boat, you're gonna buy another property. I mean, what's going on? So that's where you started fading a little bit. Like you were real strong in the middle. And then like, all right, let's see how she carries this. You weren't upswinging, you were actually downswinging. I don't know if you noticed that, but like, because you sometimes you upswing.
I noticed the upswings. I didn't notice myself starting to downswing.
On the live calls, I've heard you upswing more, and this one right here, like you were not upswinging. That was beautiful. You sounded stronger. You
Okay.
sounded more confident. Like just downswinging without upswinging changes the tone of the conversation, especially when you're on those East Coasters, man. Like a lot of them front like they're D's, but they're not all D's.
Yeah.
People who are not from the East Coast think everybody from New York is a D, but it's not. We're in survival mode and protection mode, and like don't F with me, and so we're a little tougher on the front end, but we're still soft and gooey on the inside. So that's where like you got to show them like, hey, I'm strong. I really want to know, and the authenticity and wanting to know, because I think that authenticity and wanting to know felt a little scripted, where it's like, all right, so no, look, Paul, I know. I mean, I hear you on, wanting to get out of there because of the area, and I would get that too. With you're a little bit older, you've been doing this a while, and how's your wife feel about selling the property? Oh, she wants to do it. Oh, why is that? Well, she thinks that she fears every time I go over there, I'm going to get mugged. All right, well, so. I mean, so what was this going to do for you then? I mean, honestly, like, how do you feel about it? Okay, I don't know. Like, you're like, I stay engaged, and that level of curiosity and tension, like, is like, it's like right here. Like, I'm like right here. I'm all up in your face. Like, I really want to know, like, what's happening. Come on, tell me. Give me the good stuff. And I really want them to understand that, like, I'm like right now, what's happening? Okay, what does that mean? So why not though? Because they're gonna be vague. And look, Rebecca, even with that second or third swing, when you're really with it, sometimes they just kind of keep you here a little bit, and that's okay. That's okay. Because when I come back later, I'm coming for your ass. I'm coming for your ass. Like, I want to know. So like when I get back to that second call or that appointment, like we're digging back in and going, all right. So hey, tell me. I mean, you and then I do what I just did again. And I'm like, all right, so you said you want to sell it, but I mean, what's up with that? I mean, why is that important though? And your authenticity in the energy is important, but your conviction in the confidence is what controls the conversation. Where you go, I mean, so tell me what's going on here. I mean, you wanted to sell the property, you don't want to deal with it anymore. I mean, what's that going to do for you? You're going to buy a boat? You're gonna buy another property? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, I mean, not everybody has a plan when they move, so I can appreciate not having direction with it. But I mean, does it just go in the bank, or is it more of like an emotional thing where you don't have to worry about it? I mean, what is it?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not thinking, and I need to help them think. But if I'm not vested in the process to like really want to know, a lot of times we get it. Now, this conversation with Rebecca is with people that are they're investors, and so they may be a little bit more like unemotional about it on the surface. But Rebecca, I promise you, like for the motivated ones, they're not. There's actually emotional. There's emotional a tie, or there's emotional there's emotion involved in like what's going on for the 10s and the 9s. Now, if they're not really motivated and you ask enough good questions and you ask them well and you still get that, well, then they're not really motivated.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine. But, and that doesn't mean that you may not do business with them. Right? You may still do business with them depending on how realistic they are about price. But that could be a problem later, though. Just don't forget that with I get into contract and we tried to start at a price. Oh, shit. Now I'm going to try to get a price reduction later. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. So keep fighting for that. Keep fighting for that. Keep fighting for that.
Mhm.
And know that you don't always get it on the first try. Okay. And that's okay. That's all right. But you better swing, girl. Like you got to be swinging for it. And when you catch yourself and you don't do it,
I
try
did
to.
that today. I went back and then it worked. Like I got a little more, but I did go back. But yes.
What did you get?
Um, well, I was like I asked besides the area. I was like, what's the reason? And he was like, well, might want to invest actually in Texas.
Really? What part of
Yeah.
Texas?
He was like the part above Austin. He's like, I don't even know the name. He's like, I should know the name. And I was like, okay, we have partners over in Texas, so we can
Yeah.
help with that.
So what's important about Texas?
He said he likes the area there. It's bigger and like you're less like squished. Like New York, every property's on top of each other.
Oh, okay, so you've been out there?
He said he's been out there, yeah.
When was the last time you were out there?
I didn't ask that one. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, 1982. Oh, guess what, dude? That area is yeah, that area is a city now. Or I was just out there last week. Oh, okay. What brought you out there? I got cousins out there. Okay, how do they feel about you moving out there?
Mm-hmm.
What about everybody here? I mean, is everybody here going to be like upset you're leaving New York?
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
Like they give you inches and then you're just like trying to get a little bit and then move on. Like Texas. Well, wait a minute, dude. Like dig in. Like,
yeah.
And look, guys, that's what differentiates you in this area of lead generation. Right. And I promise you too, like if you really commit to becoming a higher level communicator, then later on when you're talking about presentation stuff, I just did a presentation in front of 2 builders yesterday. Had my full presentation. Did not go into the presentation because I asked them where they wanted to start, what was important to them, and I was able to do the whole presentation from my head. And then dig in on the parts that I knew I should dig in on, talking about relationships and prospecting and my relationships with other builders and investors and yada yada, my experience. And I was able to extract all of that information from my head on the presentation because the conversation was already in there. And then now I can listen more carefully and like zero in on some of these other things that they're talking about. That's for later. Right now, what we're talking about for you guys is like, how do I get better at this conversation? I have to freaking practice, Evelyn. Evelyn, if you don't practice these open house conversations, literally, you're losing money. James, where do you generate business right now?
Mostly on calls from Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss. Who are those people?
Yeah. Buyers.
Okay, they're coming
Mostly
from.
I've been coming from New York, most up north, some in
Okay.
Florida.
They're in your system that they're looking at properties or they're looking at the website
Yes.
or whatever.
Looking
Okay,
at the
good.
website, yes.
Yeah. Now look, your energy and your skill set combined with cold leads like that, just like cold leads with the investors, right, Rebecca, is that your energy is going to be a little bit different, but on energy for like this cold, like almost like circle prospecting type stuff where you're calling people that there's some relevancy in regards to why you're calling them, but it's still a pretty cold call. All right. Is the difference maker on being able to connect with people and be able to ignite that conversation. But if you don't have this in your head somehow and you haven't practiced it, James, you're literally talking. I mean, how much are these calls worth? Your average price point is, James, in your area?
No, I don't. Most of the time I've been getting them on a phone call and I go through the open spiel of the script and they hang up.
Yeah.
Lead it.
You know why they hang up?
No.
You don't?
Maybe I'm not carrying the script across good enough for them, or
Yeah, you don't.
my pitch is not good.
Your pitch sucks. James, you know how you know your pitch sucks? Because they're hanging up on you, bro. Like now look. Later on for circle prospecting, especially like internet, look, I got guys in my office doing that right now, right? It happens. But more often than not, it doesn't happen. They're just not interested and the conversation doesn't go as far. But like we're tracking 3 to 4 appointments a week per guy. So like What's happening? James, if you want, who wants to attract better prospects? Say me. Okay, if you want to attract better people, Evelyn, then you got to be more attractive in your conversation. James, your energy's got to change, bro. Your ability to engage people has to go up. Has to go up. And you're at open houses. They're weird already. Don't help them by being weird too. Right? These investors, they're going to be tough. They're going to be fast. They're going to be resistant. Okay, well, I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be fast. And I'm going to be skilled enough to engage you with energy and questions that just keep coming and you can't stop. You might be able to deflect some, but I'm going to keep rolling. And these questions are going to come. And one of them is going to land. And then I'm going to got my crack in there. And now I'm asking more questions. But if you're not skilled enough, then look, James, you're having conversations, you're losing money. You're losing money every single week. And we're already losing money. And no matter how skilled you get, you're gonna lose money anyways, because you can't win everything. And you talk to so many people that they go in other directions or they don't do anything at all. And the whole point of me telling you guys this is that you're already going slow. It's already happening. Like, make this a little bit better by focusing on the quality of these conversations so that you guys can make money faster and I can have more leads, James, come on these internet leads. More of these leads turn into actual conversations. And then that's a whole other process, doing the lead follow-up, right? Evelyn, you're talking to more people at the open houses, and then your conversations are better. You know more. Now you got better leads to follow up with. That's a whole nother conversation. Right, Rebecca, I'm digging. I know a little bit more. And then I'm digging more at the second call or the conversation. Okay, you're not going to get everybody. But man, I got to dig out something here. Because if you're really interested, motivation equals cooperation. You'll give me a little bit more. If I have a better skill set, you'll give me a little bit more. You'll give me a little bit more. Because each of these conversations are worth, I don't know, Evelyn, your market average price point is?
And my end's about low fives.
Yeah, 15,000. James, yours is probably like 200. You need to move to Maryland. All right, your average price point's 300,000. You're like 200,000, right? So your average price point's like $6,000. Evelyn's is 15 grand. Jen, ours is about 12 to 15 grand, depending on the area. Rebecca's is 15 to 20 grand. That's what's at stake here. Okay, it was a small group to start, and then it's still a small group. There's only 5 of you guys here, so I was glad to dig in here and dive in on each of your some individual challenges, and we weren't as vested in doing role play as deep today, but I think mindset wise for you guys, because let's do this on the next session. For sure, even if it's a smaller group, if it's a small group especially, and if it's this group especially, I'm gonna dig in at you and then make you go harder on the role play to make sure that this is valuable, because we make money by what we say, who we talk to, the quality of our conversations. Now, all you got to do is get better at those conversations. Find somebody to role play with this week. You're already role playing. Dig in deeper on that role play on where you need to get better at. Is it personalities? Is it a specific objection? Is it a place in the conversation that you don't go, that you're not as efficient in? James, get a role play partner. Like Evelyn, find somebody to role play those open houses. That's your opportunity, because the next conversation is, I don't know when you guys are going to dive into that next conversation, but it's coming. And if you're intentional about it, which you should be, that conversation should be coming this afternoon. It should be coming tomorrow. It should be coming this weekend. Go get some. Have a great week.
Thank you.